Hello everybody, my name's Barnett, I'm a game developer, and today I'm going to talk to you about the 3 secrets of fun games. First, I'd like to thank Ian Yasso and Chase Burdine for reaching out to me to do this talk for IGDA at Clark University. It's really great being able to share my experiences with the next generation of game devs. I've been making games for over 30 years now, and while I'm best known for working on hit series such as Portal, Counter-Strike, and Left 4 Dead at Valve, I started out by making lots of games with my brother a long time ago. And I've also been working at Snowed In Studios in Canada for the last 5 years. I also do a lot of Korean-related side projects lately, including this popular Korean Wordle-like game. And in fact, I originally wrote and gave this talk in Korean, and then this is actually just a translation of it back into English. Over all these years of various successes and failures, I ended up learning a ton about how to make games fun. Today, I'm going to share the 3 biggest secrets that have stuck with me. The last secret is the most important, so I hope you'll hang around with me until the end. My first secret to making fun games is the action manual. When I was young, games always came with a little instruction booklet. The Super Mario Bros. Manuals were especially well known for being full of diagrams like this. And the pictures were so good that you could imagine the entire game in your head before you had even played it. For my first year in college, I had an assignment to make a game design about aliens, but was having some trouble coming up with ideas. So I fell back on the old brainstorming methods that worked for me as a kid. I broke out the crayons and just started drawing. This picture ended up being the blueprint for my team's semester-long game project, and it turned out pretty good. From then on, I did a lot of drawing whenever I developed game ideas. These may look crude and hard to understand, but these are actually the starting point for what became Portal. It's a little easier to see if I add these highlights. This is a method that I still use all the time. It helps spark the imagination of me and my team so that we can get a feel for the game before development has even started. So that's the first secret to making a fun game. Draw pictures similar to the actions you see in game manuals early and often. My second secret to making games fun is the sound channel. At the most basic level, when something happens in the game, it should make a sound. But there are many other uses for audio. For example, the right background music can lend a sense of speed and motivation to areas with very little happening. And it's easy to hear how the energy deflates when you turn off the sound. These 2 videos are exactly the same, but now the vibe is completely different, and the player has plenty of empty space to think about these annoying ladders. But remember how I used the word channel. Thanks to the sound channel, we can communicate completely extraneous information in parallel to the game. For example, here are 2 very simple-looking characters named Chris and Thomas. The sound channel lets us explore their deep inner psychology without interrupting the flow of the game. Check this out.
Chris stared at Thomas with pure hatred. He seemed so very happy at their situation. Friends together, a brave fellowship of quadrilaterals on a quest for greatness. That would be fine. But it was all the obvious observation that Thomas was doing which grated. Every time they saw something vaguely new, Chris would hear a satisfied little from the vaulting idiot. He hoped the next portal would split them up.
Players can also get critical alerts while focusing on other tasks thanks to the sound channel. This is StarCraft, where you might be very busy fighting in one location and then hear alerts like this.
Base is under attack. Your forces are under attack. Research complete.
Let's take a second to listen closely to the audio in this Portal clip. First of all, you can't see your own feet when you look down, but they exist in the player's imagination, thanks to the footstep sounds. Second, you can't see the air in the room, or exactly how fast you're falling, but the sound of rushing air in the sound channel emphasizes the feeling of speed. With that in mind, let's listen one more time. Now here's something that you probably never noticed about Portal. There's exactly one song in the game's soundtrack that's used twice. The player hears it for the first time while learning a critical new skill, and a bit later in the game, we play the exact same song for the second time to help players recall that skill. Listen very carefully to the background music here. This puzzle was originally too hard, but just adding this musical cue made it much easier for players to solve. This subconscious nudging let players pull the solution from their own memory and feel like a genius. And there are similar tricks throughout the game where each type of puzzle element has its own distinct soundscape. As you progress through any puzzle, the soundscape changes to nudge your brain toward the next step. So when we develop games, we need to consider all the things that we can't see, such as atmosphere, distant actions, story, wind, memories, etc., and bring them to life inside the player's imagination with the audio channel. My third secret to making fun games is moments of anticipation. Moments of anticipation is a little abstract, so I'm going to explain it through an example. First, something starts to happen. Then, for a split second, the player predicts the outcome of that action. Usually, the result matches their expectation, but the most important part is the tiny span of time between action and result. Fun games have many, many moments of anticipation. A simple example would be how it's easy to predict the trajectory of bullets when their speed is tuned properly. There's a frequently used term in game design called telegraphing, which is movement and sounds to signal the player just before an attack happens. This technique is mostly used to make the difficulty more fair, but it also creates all these fun moments of anticipation that I'm talking about. The fun comes from the satisfying feeling of seeing a signal, predicting the future, then, within the blink of an eye, seeing the final state match the expectation you imagined. So these sparks of joyful imagination are hidden within those little time gaps. Developers can even use moments of anticipation in dialogue. For example, if a sentence starts with the word if, then the player will expect the word then to be coming. Start a sentence with whether, and whether they realize it or not, they will anticipate or not to follow shortly after. When the script closely follows a character's personality, players can easily guess what the next word will be. Common phrases are another great way to get players imagining the end of a sentence. But don't forget to catch them by surprise every once in a while. Now, I want you to watch this 10-second clip from Portal and try to count all the moments of anticipation. First, there's a portal gun. They fire the portal gun, but the portal isn't created instantaneously. A very fast projectile flies out, and then the portal appears. Next, they shoot the red portal, and the red portal appears. Next, there's an energy pellet launcher. The launcher spins and shoots an energy pellet. It flies toward the portal and enters it. Then comes out the other portal and continues flying toward the turret. It smacks into the turret, and the turret starts to tip over, and then finally it falls down into the goo below. Let's watch that clip one more time. All right, so let's wrap up the 3 secrets. Number 1, draw actions like a game manual to spark the imagination. Number 2, take advantage of the sound channel to spark the imagination. Number 3, fill your game with moments of anticipation to spark the imagination. Number 4, always give players one more level than they expected. Number 4, where is the game? Well, let's think about it. Is the game in the box? Is it in the files? Is it in the computer? Is it in the monitor? Nope. Ultimately, the game is inside the player's head. It's your job as a game developer to spark the player's imagination and put the game in there. I hope that you'll try out some of the secrets that I showed today and that it makes your games more fun. Thanks so much for listening, and feel free to shoot me a message anytime if you have any questions. Also, my baby picture on the left, it has nothing to do with this presentation, but I found it recently and I thought it was funny how coincidentally I accidentally recreated this moment many decades later. But yeah, that's all. Thanks for listening, and I do English videos occasionally on my YouTube channel. If you look in the playlists section of my YouTube channel, you'll find an English stuff playlist, and there you can watch all my English videos. That's all. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.